Lives Remembered is our series about people who have died of COVID-19 in Washington. So we wanted a way to show people who was being lost and the toll that this was taking. It was scary to see the range of people. When you can't identify any commonality, you think this could happen to me. You might see someone who resembles you or your grandfather or your uncle or your friend in these stories. I have gone through obituaries every single week of the pandemic to find people who died of COVID-19. And there are some that stand out not because of the sadness, but because there's comedy or there's something light about it. So I came across one for Thomas Dupar Sr., and he sounded like quite a character.
After 4 marriages that ended in divorce and 4 bankruptcies, he kept many ABA members gainfully employed.
He had lived a wonderfully colorful life, and I don't think anyone was really sad that his life was coming to an end. I think it was more the circumstances, that we weren't able to be there with him. I have a calendar reminder, call Grandpa, because my dad's always been really good about call your grandparents, and so I just can't bring myself to delete that from my calendar, call Grandpa. And so it's kind of funny now because when that reminder pops up on my phone every week, I can sit there and I can have a conversation with him. I know exactly how it would go. It's like, hey, sweetheart, how you doing? And he would always mix up my name, Katie, with my cousin Sadie's name. So he'd be like, oh, hi, Sadie, how you doing? And then halfway through the call, it would be like, oh, he realizes it's me. He was such a character, and he wasn't for everybody, but he was our character,
In lieu of flowers, please raise a glass of cheap scotch, 2 fingers, measured with pinky and index.
And they wrote, to honor Mr. Dupar, raise your glass with cheap scotch. So I've come back to that obituary many times just when I need a laugh, because through all of this sadness there is laughter. It's so easy to be so overwhelmed by the sheer numbers. Americans are essentially living through a mass casualty event every single day, and that's very overwhelming. But when you go to the specific person and look at the individual lives, that can help. And when you speak with their loved ones, perhaps writing a story about their loved one will help them with their own mourning. Another colleague wrote about a grocery store cashier. Someone sent me a message saying, thank you for this series. He was my cashier. I had wondered what happened to him. So thank you so much for memorializing him. So knowing that we have a responsibility to our community is part of what keeps me going. Working on this Lives Remembered series has been very difficult, but I consider it an honor to be let into the lives of these family members during some of the most difficult parts of their life.